Your brain will kill your motivation to act if you think about it for longer than 5 seconds. The fastest way to lower your stress is stop controlling and changing everybody else. Because you're worried about what other people are gonna think? I taught myself a skill that you need to know, and the skill is, see, there are two types of people in the world. People only change when they change for themselves.
Warm welcome, the one and only Mel Robbins.
Oh, it's great to see you. Thank you for inviting me to be here with you.
Yeah. And thank you so much. Is it cold water you have there? Is it like water with ice you have on your side?
It's water with ice.
It's a lot of water. How much water do you drink every day?
How much water do I drink? Okay, well, you're ready to get into too much information. So I drink 2 to 3 of these a day. And I don't drink more than that because, like a lot of women, I had to have bladder surgery after having 3 children. And so with a bladder in a sling, I don't want to be putting an avalanche of water through the system, if you know what I mean.
Understand. Mel, when you were 41, you had $800,000 in debt, unemployed with 3 kids. Your husband's restaurant was going bankrupt. You were drinking heavily. But, Mel, 5 seconds changed your life.
Yes. You know, I'm 56 now, and a lot of people see the success that I have, and they ask me, how did you create one of the top podcasts in the world? How did you write a book that has sold 7 million copies in less than a year? How do you do this? And the answer is very simple. I taught myself a skill that you need to know, and the skill is learning how to do things you don't feel like doing. And for me, that meant learning how to get out of bed on those days where the anxiety was so crushing that I didn't think I would be able to survive it. Nobody makes a vision board and puts pictures of bankruptcy or divorce or being in debt on it. We put beach houses and nice cars and millions of dollars and crossing the marathon finish line. And what happened to me has happened to like tons of people. You're busy living your life and you start making bad decisions, and next thing you know, you wake up and everything has gone to hell. And when that happens to you, and it will, you will be faced with a really difficult thing. You're going to know what you could do to change things for the better, but you're not going to feel like doing it. You're going to be it's you against you. And that was me for a year. I was drinking myself into the ground. I was yelling at my husband. I was allowing the bills to stack up on the counter for 6 months. And I was caught in this really horrible cycle of knowing what I could do, but not feeling the motivation or the energy to do any of it. And so I always say that you're one decision away from a different life. And I think there's this mistake, Alexander, that people make that, change takes time. That's not true. You change with one decision. The results take time. You don't see the results immediately, but you change your life with one decision. And that one decision for me, it happened on a Tuesday morning in February 2008. $800,000 in debt, 3 kids under the age of 10, about to lose everything that I cared about. For a year, I had been hitting the snooze button 4 or 5 times a morning. And I just made a decision that would be the morning that I was going to get up when the alarm rang, and I did. And I started using this technique that I've now taught to millions of people called the 5-second rule. And it's just like dropping food on the floor. I don't know if you grew up with this one or if you're teaching this to your kid, but when you drop food on the floor, you got 5 seconds to pick it up and blow the dog hair off. The idea is that the floor contaminates the food if you don't move fast enough. Well, the same thing is true with action. Your brain will kill your motivation to act if you think about it for longer than 5 seconds. You have a 5-second window between knowing what you should do and your brain killing action. But here's what the 5-second rule, and counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, move, is that action kills fear. See, everybody sits around because you're afraid and you're nervous and you're anxious and you're depressed, and all those things are real, but those feelings are killing your ability to take action. And action is the only thing that changes your life. But if you start teaching yourself how to act before you feel good, before you're happy, before you're out of debt, before you're motivated, if you can act while you're sad or uncertain or depressed, holy cow, the action kills the fear, and the action changes everything about your life over time.
And can you tell me a little bit when you can use this one? Is it like to everything? I used it. I was meeting Wim Hof, Iceman. You maybe know him.
Oh, sure, of course.
I was cold bath with him in the Netherlands. So, and I was like, this will be so cold. But then I also read your book. I was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and going to ice cold water for over 10 minutes. So I use it a lot.
Yeah. So
can you
for
use it to
your audience,
everything?
yeah, you can use it for everything, because here's the thing. Thinking about something doesn't do it. And we all have things in our life that we want to change. And we live in a moment in time where you no longer have the excuse, well, I don't know how to do that, because you can go to any AI platform and type in the thing you want to change and you'll get a list of what to do. But now you have a problem. You have a list of what you need to do, but you're going to wait till you feel ready to do it. And that's the mistake. So in order to change any behavior, you have to interrupt your pattern of hesitating and talking yourself out of it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we've now done a tremendous amount of research on it. It's what's called a starting ritual. It is something that you can use, a technique that interrupts old habit loops. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 cues you to do the thing that you know you need to do, but you don't feel like doing it. So for example, if you're somebody that wants to lock in a meditation habit, but you keep blowing it off, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sit down and meditate. If you're somebody that's trying to grow your business and you're busy doing everything except for cold calling your customers, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that'll cut through the thinking and make you do it. Yeah. And so you can use it for anything that you keep talking yourself out of. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, walk away from the beer and pick up the water.
Yeah.
It's a pattern interrupter.
Love it. You've said that the 5-second rule changed your relationship with yourself. How did the let them theory change your relationship with others? Can you walk me through the theory?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. So if you have not heard about the let them theory, it's a super simple rule about life. You can think about it like it's a modern version of Stoicism, of the Serenity Prayer, of Buddhism. It really helps you focus on what's in your control and what's not in your control. And here's the let them theory. The fastest way to lower your stress, to gain power, and to feel more confident and in control is stop controlling and changing everybody else and let other people be who they are. Let them think what they think, do what they do, say what they say, feel what they feel, and focus on not them, but you, what you think, what you feel, what you do. The more you stop trying to control everybody else, the more in control of yourself you will feel. And the reason why this is spread around the world is because, first of all, we live at a moment in history where the world feels like it's spinning out of control. And you can stress yourself out and drive yourself crazy reading the headlines and spending hours and hours on social media. Or you can recognize that what is happening out there is already happening. And getting yourself stressed out about it actually doesn't help you respond to what's happening. So when you say let them, you're not allowing anything to happen. You're recognizing the reality of what's in your control and what's not. And then you say the second part of the theory, which is let me remind myself that there's 3 things I can control in life: what I think, what I do or don't do, and how I feel about what's happening. And one of the things that's really important to understand is that you can gaslight yourself into thinking that you have no power. I don't have the power in my job. I don't have the power to impact the world. I don't have the power to change my family. I don't have the power to change my... It's complete garbage. You are so powerful, but you don't recognize it because right now all day long, you're allowing traffic and rude people and emails at work and the headlines to drain your life force energy. And when you start to say those 4 words, let them and let me, you start to protect yourself from all of the annoying and scary and irritating things that are happening. And you choose how much space it occupies in your brain. You choose how much time and energy you give to the world around you or to people that are in your life. And, let's face it, the number one source of stress for all of us is other people, because other people are really annoying. They're rude. They have opinions we don't like. They have guilt trips. They have expectations. And one of the beautiful things about the let them theory is that there's a totally different way to live your life. Instead of letting other people drive you bananas, just let them. Let them be who they are, especially with your family, Alexander. I mean, your family has been the same since the minute you were born. So why on earth would you stress yourself out wishing people would change? Instead, just learn how to let them be who they are and let them be who they're not, and learn how to love them and accept them as they are when they're your family or your friends, or have better boundaries instead of constantly allowing them to drain you. Because you can't change another person. People only change when they change for themselves.
Can you take me through this one? Like if you put the dishes in the sink, what is the let them theory? If you would explain to this.
Okay. Yep. So the let them theory, let's say you're setting up a scenario where you're in a relationship and one of you is super clean and the other person in the relationship is kind of messy. And let's just say that your partner always puts their dishes in the sink and then walks away, or your roommate, right? Super irritating, or your kids do that. And then you're the one who then comes along and you get all angry and then you put the dishes away and then you get huffy and then eventually you send the text message with the photo and you're passive aggressive.
That's exactly our relationship, but
okay,
I'm the one that put the dishes and I get the text message.
Yes, exactly. And so here's the thing to understand. If you're in a relationship with somebody, 99% of the time, they're not trying to be a jerk. They didn't mean to make you upset. And so when something like that happens, we tend to jump to being offended instead of taking a step back. And so number one, when you say let them leave the dishes in the sink, okay? You're not allowing it to continue to happen. You're just recognizing getting angry right now because there's a cereal bowl in the sink is a stupid way to use my energy. So let them put the cereal bowl in the sink. Now let me decide, how do I want to respond to this? Do I want to do the passive aggressive text? Do I want to just put the bowl in the dishwasher? Do I want to leave it there for them? Because you have choices and you get to choose. Some days you're going to take the photo and you're going to send the passive aggressive text because you yourself are overwhelmed. Other days you're just going to put it in the sink and you're going to move on because you recognize the other 99% of the things that you bring to the relationship are so awesome. I can deal with this one thing because I happen to be a clean freak. So why am I imposing my standards on you? But if it does bother you, instead of handling it in the moment when you're mad, because then you're going to have a tone of voice, then you're going to get huffy and puffy, then it's going to turn into something it doesn't need to turn in. Stop and ask yourself, okay, let them put this in the sink. Let them not be as clean as I am. Let me ask myself, why does this bother me? Why does it bother me so much? And if you stop yourself and you go a little bit deeper, you might recognize that there's something deeper going on. Like, I just feel like you work all the time and I don't see you as much. And when you put the dish in the sink and then you race out the door, I kind of feel like the maid. I feel like you don't care about me. Or maybe it's that I'm upset about this because I've never said anything to you about it. And now I'm getting huff and puffy with you when this is like something that has been building for a long time. It's not just the bowl. It's the fact that you never walk the dog. It's the fact that I'm the one that's up with the kids. It's the fact that we're not communicating about these little things because I just let it slide, but actually I'm mad. And so the point about using the let them theory is to recognize that anything that triggers you that another person is doing, they probably don't understand the deeper reason why. So instead of like blowing somebody's head off verbally because you don't like the dish in the sink, let me respond right now. And then let me do the deeper work to understand what is it. And then when you come home from work and we're in a calm space, then you just say, hey, I want to talk to you about something. I want to talk to you about the fact that this really bothers me. And I know that you don't intend to do this, but I think I know why it bothers me. I'm not seeing you as much. We're not as present. You're working so much. And I feel like we're just roommates. And every time I see the dish, I feel more like your roommate than your spouse. And it makes me sad. And when you have that conversation, now all of a sudden, it's not about me trying to change you. It's me trying to connect with you and me taking responsibility for what's actually happening for me. And then me being a responsible adult and saying, and hey, Alexander, like I can deal with the dishes, but is it possible for us to spend time on Saturday together without our laptops? Because I really miss you. Do you see what I mean in terms of like, we get into these relationships with people in our lives where it becomes very transactional and tit for tat, because we hold on to these small little slights and we're not stopping and decompressing the emotional response and then just going, what is this about? And what do I actually need from you? And why do I continue to operate in a way where I'm constantly pissed off at you? Like most people that break up or that distance themselves, it's not because of some big thing that happened. It's because there are small things that happen all day or all week that you don't say anything about. And then those little resentments build up and then there's a blow up. And you can avoid this by using this theory to not get so reactive about what's happening with other people and not be so judgy, and let them do what they're going to do, but then let me really understand what I need in a relationship and let me ask for it in a way that isn't judgy or angry, but that's really seeking connection and understanding. By the way, I wasn't like this before I wrote the book. That's why I know I was the one sending the text. I was the one, like, I didn't do life this way, dude. And that brings me back to your question. What's the difference between the 5-second rule and the let them theory? So I created the 5-second rule in 2008. I still use it every morning to get out of bed because there are going to be things in life that you never like doing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, force yourself to do it because you know that once it's done, you feel better. But I started to wonder, Alexander, why is there so much hesitation and resistance anyway? Like if you're somebody that's listening or watching right now and you want to start a YouTube channel, why haven't you started it? If you're somebody that wants to lean into AI and build, why haven't you done it? If you're somebody that wants to learn how to make money online, or you're jealous of Alexander because he has a podcast, and you're like, oh, Alexander started one, now I can't start one. Like, why haven't you? The main source of resistance and fear for people is other people. You don't do the things that you want to do in your life because you're afraid someone's going to be upset. You're afraid they're going to misunderstand. You're afraid they're going to judge. You're afraid of this. You're afraid. It all comes down to you being concerned that if you start a YouTube channel or you suddenly turn your Instagram from personal into trying to do something professional and making money with it, that people are going to unfollow it. People are going to do this. That's where the hesitation comes from. And so you can say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and keep powering through the hesitation. But what I recognized is, my God, what if I just stopped managing my fear of other people? What if I let people think what they're going to think? They think what they think anyway. Why don't you let people judge? They're judging you anyway right now, and you can't control it. So how sad to live your life bending yourself over backwards because you think you can actually control what other people think. How sad that you would hold yourself back from writing music or making a movie or launching a business or leaving that marriage or putting yourself back out there after a breakup because you're worried about what other people are going to think? Oh my God.
Yeah, I must tell you a story, Mel. It was like 5 minutes before we start the podcast. I was going into Instagram, and me and my wife, we was yesterday at a restaurant and eat, because we have small kids, so this was maybe, you know, the first date in 1 year or something. We was in a restaurant, and I take a photo and say like, yeah, we are eating in a restaurant like this. And then I get a message that I shouldn't have, because they sent wrong. This was sent, the girl want to send it to other one, but send it to me. And it stands like this. I think these two people are so disgusting, these shitty little people. They are sitting on a restaurant, on a luxury restaurant, and eating when it's war outside, when it's war in the world. I want to throw up. I hate these two people. Like that. And I was like, okay. It's so interesting also because this was 5 minutes before we started talking.
Yes.
And I was like,
so let
them.
What did you do? Yeah, let them. And here's the other reason why this is so important. I want you to just stop and think for a second about the psychology of a person and what their world must feel like if they are spending time and energy attacking people online who they don't know. Imagine if everybody who was spending time online tearing other people down, imagine if they took that same time and energy and they actually put it to use, changing their life or changing the world for the better. Just imagine. See, there are two types of people in the world. There are people who are focused on ideas and on living their life in a way that makes them proud of themselves and who are generous in sharing what they're learning with the world. And then there are people who spend their time attacking everybody else. You get to choose how to spend your time and energy. And I'll tell you, it sucks and it hurts when somebody says something that is violent like that, by the way. So it's also kind of absurd if you think about it. Somebody's upset about war, but they're creating violence and war with their words by attacking you. That doesn't make any sense to me. And so to me, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so to me, you also have to understand that a person that's in that kind of state is not a person you would ever take advice from. It's not a person that you're going to respect at all, which is why saying let them is beautiful, because you can't control other people. So why on earth would we spend any of our time and energy trying to? And if this person wants to burn themselves up inside by attacking strangers online because they're upset about the world, let them. But it's sad because at some point, I hope they wake the hell up and recognize commenting on strangers' social media posts is not the way you end war. Taking your time and energy and focusing on things that you can do that are positive are the things that ripple through the world, that change the very scary things that are happening.
For sure. And also for this, I love this quote. Don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from.
Exactly. Exactly. And don't validate it by responding to it. Not everybody deserves a response. Not everybody deserves an explanation. You get to choose who deserves your time, your energy, or the explanation for what you do and why.
For sure. I have a lot of questions from the listeners as well. And we talk a little bit about relationship. And I have one very interesting question from a listener that we can listen to here.
Oh, great.
Hello, Mel. I have a question about if you have a long relationship with your partner for like 13 years and you live together and you feel like you're not in love anymore and the emotions have faded, is it possible to get in love again and get the emotions back? Thank you.
Of course you can. In fact, I think second marriages are incredible, especially if they're with the same person. And what I mean by that is every single relationship has different chapters in it. I've been married for 29 years, and every single year has felt very different. It is possible to fall madly and deeply in love again if you have two conditions present. You need to have two people in the relationship who want it to work. So if you both are sad that you don't feel, quote, in love anymore, and you both would like to make the relationship work, that's great news. And the second thing that you need is you both need to do the work. And so I think about a relationship like a teeter-totter or a seesaw on a playground. Every relationship that fails, it's because one person got off and they stopped wanting it to work and they stopped being willing to lean in. If you two were to simply, either if you can afford to sit down with a third party, a therapist, a counselor, an advisor, whomever, and just start talking through, where did things go wrong? Where is it that we're growing apart? What are the things that we do still value about each other? Because to me, there's a very big difference in a long-standing relationship between kind of the lusty years and the exciting, fun years, and then the years where you're just in a partnership because you have kids and dogs and busy jobs and you're exhausted and you don't see each other as much anymore. Those are problems and phases of your life you can work through. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you've spent 15 years with somebody, it's worth working on it. You have a network of friends. You're integrated into each other's families. You will not regret working on it, even if it leads both of you to going, okay, I think that this relationship has run its course. And I think in working on it together, you actually rediscovered why you fall in love with the person in the first place. Because life's hard. And there are going to be times that you hate your spouse. There are going to be times where you're frustrated with them. There are going to be times where they're up, you're down. There's going to be times where you're up, they're down. And part of what makes a relationship work is the two of you wanting it to work. And so I would not focus on getting the love back. I would focus on, can we actually be reminded of why we fell in love in the first place? And if you, in doing that, realize that you have 80% of the things that matter. And what actually matters in a relationship? What matters is that you're with somebody that's loyal. What matters is you're with somebody who's kind to you. What matters is you're with somebody who you feel safe with, meaning it's sort of like home base. When you walk in from a busy day, your shoulders can drop. If you've got those things, you've got 80% of what matters. And you also know the baggage. Because if you break up after 15 years, whoever it is that you're going to be dating or marrying next, they're going to come with a lot of baggage that you don't know about. And I personally would rather try to work through the things I know about than just do this and leave. Now, there's one caveat to this. The research is very clear. We cite it in the Let Them Theory book. This comes from the legendary researchers, the Gottmans. So the Gottmans basically say, after decades and decades of researching long-standing relationships, if staying together requires one of you to give up on a dream or to live against your values, that is a relationship that will never work, because one of you has to sacrifice your dreams or your values, which means you will quietly resent the other person, and that's what will lead to the breakup. So when the question was, we've fallen out of love, that doesn't sound like I'm giving up on my dreams. What that sounds like to me is life is really hard right now, and I hate this person because life is hard and this is supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be something that's worth working on.
You also have a really good thing there when you actually do the breakup, how you come over.
Yes. This was a really fascinating thing that happened when we were writing the book. I wrote the book with my daughter. And the book is divided into 8 sections. There's 57 world-renowned experts, and we teach you how to use the Let Them Theory to leverage the best research in psychology and relationships and motivation and neuroscience. And the last chapter is about love. And so we're writing the chapter about love. And one of the biggest takeaways around love is not judging. Love is not changing people. Love is not controlling them. And love isn't even knowing better. Love is learning how to accept somebody as they are and as they aren't. So we get into the love section, and we are writing the section on what happens when heartbreak hits. And honest to God, Alexander, my daughter's boyfriend of 2 years suddenly breaks up with her. Now, it wasn't that sudden. I could see that things were coming. She woke up the next morning. She's like ripping apart the manuscript. Now let them there, he sucks. What am I supposed to do? Just let him break up with me? Let him have sex with other people? Let him walk out the door? It's terrible. And in a situation like that, you don't have control. The person just did it. And what I never understood about a breakup is that one of the reasons why a breakup is so difficult, it's not just that the relationship ended. It's that you now have to unlearn life with this person. It is a death. You are going to miss them, not because you're supposed to be with them, but because after the breakup, your brain, your nervous system, every part of your body has to break apart all the patterns of what it was like to be with them. The reason why you wake up and in your bedroom alone and you can sense them there is because the relationship trained you to know what it feels like. The reason why in a breakup you can be driving down the road and you're thinking about something and you can hear them almost answering the question in their voice is because you had that experience for 2 years. It's just like quitting alcohol. Of course you're going to crave alcohol. It doesn't mean you're supposed to drink it. And so there is a protocol that we write about in the book that my daughter followed. It was unbelievable, where for 30 days, you have to go through a 30-day detox because you have to give your brain and your nervous system a chance to break the patterns. Anytime you have to go 30 days, you have to remove all their photos. You cannot listen to voice memos. You cannot follow them online. You don't have to burn anything or be dramatic, but pack up all their things in your room, put it in a box in the closet. It's very important to also rearrange your bedroom if you can, because you've spent a lot of time in there with this person. And so you want to be signaling to yourself, not the old life that no longer is there. You want to be signaling to yourself that there is a new life that is beginning. You should expect for 30 days that you will hear their voice, that you will sense their presence, that you will miss them. But over the course of 30 days, no photos, no voice memos, no checking location, no watching videos. This is very important because what happens is it's just like somebody trying to go sober. If you go 10 days not drinking and then you chug some vodka, you reactivate all of the neural pathways and all of the patterns in your body related to alcohol. You just went back to square one. There are people that are listening and watching right now that haven't gotten over their ex in 2 years. Why? Because they still look at photos. They still listen to voice memos. They've never actually given themselves a 30-day break to break the neural pathways and to break the patterns. You have to give your body a chance to unlearn. And then after 30 days, you're in a way better place to be able to bump into the person or be able to make better decisions. And what the research also shows is that 80% of people feel a lot better after 11 weeks. Now, if you knew that if you did a 30-day break and if you knew that you were going to feel better within 11 weeks, that would give you a lot of hope. And if you knew that the person that you were supposed to be with is just around the corner after that, what decisions would you make now about what you're doing with the next 3 months, 6 months, and year, knowing that an amazing person is right around the corner in the future? That's the way to go through a breakup. Let them break up with you. Let them move on. Let them fall in love with somebody else. Let me pick up the pieces of my life. Let me break the patterns and not look at this person or listen to them or watch them for 30 days. Let me remind myself that I'm going to feel way better in 11 weeks if I just keep letting the person walk out the door and letting me pick up the pieces. And then let me remind myself somebody amazing is right around the corner. I just haven't met him yet.
It's amazing. It's really good. I have a question about something that's pretty difficult, and the question is about difficult people. If you have a difficult people in your life, for example, people like narcissists, people with big egos, always putting themselves first. It can also be people that, it can be family members. It can be a mother. It can be a father.
Sure.
It can be your son. It can be your daughter. It can be your husband. It can be your best friend that changed, even though you're a boss. So it's a little bit complicated. How would you recommend handling them in the let them theory?
You don't handle them. That's the point. See, the problem with difficult people is we think we can change them. We think there's something that we can do that will suddenly make a very difficult or emotional or abusive person be normal. It is very important to understand that when you use the let them theory and the 4 words, let them and let me, they're boundaries. They are boundaries that you're drawing with yourself. Because let's face it, if you've got a parent that is incredibly emotionally immature, or you have a brother that's narcissistic, or you have a boss that is disrespectful, there is nothing you can do to change who this person is. Because rule number 1, people only change when they feel like changing for themselves. And your power is not in managing or manipulating other people. Your power is in recognizing the truth of who someone is and then protecting yourself appropriately. So this is how it works. You're going home for the holidays. You have a relative that is very narcissistic. You always have tension. It's always the same thing, but you still drive home bracing and hoping that it's going to be different. Instead, you're going to use the let them theory. You're going to say, let them. My dad's been narcissistic since I was born. Let him be narcissistic. Like, instead of me tiptoeing around this, let me recognize the situation I'm walking into. And let him do his thing, and let me remind myself that I don't need to take the bait. I don't need, when dad starts throwing I don't need to grab at it and then respond to it. I don't need, when my sister's doing the silent treatment, to go over and be like, are you okay? Is there anything? Oh, she wants you to do that. No, let her pout. Let your dad do his thing. Let your boss actually treat you in a way that's disrespectful. Because when you say let them, you're not allowing it. You're doing something very important. You're forcing yourself to recognize this is who this person is. How they treat me is how they feel about me. Instead of me expecting them to change, let me demand the change of myself. Let me employ some of the tactics. So with somebody who's narcissistic, if you want to keep them in your life, the best thing to do is to recognize that they're narcissistic and not expect them to change. And then do what the experts call gray rocking. Like, don't expect them to ask questions about your life because they're not going to. Don't get huffy and offended because they don't. Just let them do what they do. And then when they start to triangulate and they start to gossip about somebody, you get to choose. Are you going to respond? Or are you going to redirect? Are you going to diffuse it? Or are you going to be like, why do you always have to do that, Dad? Now all of a sudden we got to fight again. No, just let him. I don't have to respond to that. I can just turn and talk to my cousin over here. And I also don't have to stay the night. I can leave after dinner. And I also don't have to talk about politics because I can get up from the table. And so when you recognize that you hold the power because you see people as they are, but you understand that how you change around them is what changes everything. Like, let's just take an example that's happening right now that I see from our audience. People are writing in about a very real fear that AI is going to make their job redundant. Well, before the let them theory, a lot of us would sit there in fear. We'd feel frozen. We'd be afraid. We would gossip with our colleagues. We'd read the headlines and we'd worry about it. When
Sure.
you use the let them theory in a situation at work and you say, okay, let them lay me off. Let them implement AI. Let somebody who knows AI take my job. Let them. I can't control that. Let me focus on what I can control. I can control what I think about this, what I do and don't do, and I can control how I react to my feelings. So if I'm that worried about this, instead of wasting the next 6 months worrying about it, why don't I update my resume? Why don't I take an online certification in AI so that I'm amping up my skills? Why don't I ask myself if I even want to be working in finance right now? Maybe this is an important time for me to start being proactive about making a pivot in my career. And so instead of sitting there like a sitting duck, telling yourself you have no control and AI is coming, which it's not true that you don't have control. You have control over your response to what's happening. And so don't allow yourself to get paralyzed by what you can't control. Focus on what you can control, which is your attitude and the actions that you take.
Mhm. I want to ask you some very important questions before we end this. You have an amazing morning routine that you
Yes.
say 8 stuff to yourself every morning. Can you take us through that?
Sure. So I have both a routine and then there are 8 things that you can say to yourself. And I'll share some of my favorite ones because nobody's going to remember all 8. So my morning routine is very simple. And I love morning routines because it is the only time that you have where you're guaranteed to be able to focus on yourself. And if you ever feel like you don't know where to begin with changing your life, start with carving out 10 to 15 minutes for yourself every morning before you look at your phone, before you get the kids out of bed, before you deal with the dogs. That time is for you. So for me, number 1, I wake up when the alarm rings, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out of bed, unless it's the weekends, and then I sleep in. Then I make my bed. And I make my bed because it's a way to practice consistency. And it is a way for me to feel like I've completed something. And every time I walk back into the room for the rest of the day, I don't see a mess. Then I walk into my bathroom. And after I go to the bathroom, as I'm brushing my teeth, I look myself in the eyes and I think about the one thing that matters, because there's only one thing you can focus on today. The second you pick up your phone, your entire day is hijacked. So it's the one thing that's actually important to you that you're going to make sure you get done today. And for me, this is dumb, but I got to figure out the paint color in the den because my husband's leaving and a painter's coming tomorrow and he's painting his office. And I don't want to forget that because I got to get that done. So I wrote it on a post. That was the one thing. Dumb. But if I get that done, I'm going to feel like good. I know the rest of the stuff will take care of itself. As I look in the mirror and I hold eye contact with the person in the mirror, I then raise my hand and I send myself into the day with a high five. Sounds super cheesy, but there's a huge field of research about the brain. Fastest way to change default thinking is to combine new thinking with an unexpected action. When you high five yourself in the mirror, the research shows that you feel this sense of self-support and encouragement that raises your confidence. Then I drink a thing of water, and then I go for a 10-minute walk. And as I'm walking, here are some of the things I say, okay? There are 8 different things you can say. Here are my favorites. And they're so easy. Today's going to be a good day because I'm going to make it a good day. And this is very important even when you're going through something horrible. You could be going to a funeral today. And you can say, today is going to be a good day because I'm going to make it a good day. And my friend whose life we are honoring deserves for us to have a good day as we're honoring them. And the thing about your brain is your brain is not a storage unit. Your brain is a processor that is looking for instruction for you. So if you spend your time telling yourself, oh my God, today's going to be terrible. I'm so stressed out. I got so much to do. That's what your brain is going to focus on. If you say something amazing is going to happen today for me, like it's not, I'm amazing. I can just feel it. Something really cool is going to happen today. Now all of a sudden your brain's like, oh, okay, I'm processing that. Let's see if something cool happens today. It might just be that you see a super cool dog walk by your path. It might be that after the funeral, you see the number 67, and that was your friend's jersey number in basketball in high school. Isn't that an amazingly cool thing that just happened? And you'll see it because you told your brain to see it. And so to me, those are two things that you can use right now. Another one is I'm trying really hard and I deserve to be nice to myself today. Like I'm doing a good job, doing the best that I can. That kind of small reassurance, again, helps your mind look ahead and say, yeah, you know, she's doing the best she can. Let's be kind to you today. So two things, but my favorite one is today is going to be a good day. And then here's one more thing that I'll leave you with, because this is really fascinating research out of Baylor. A lot of people love practicing gratitude at night. If you have trouble sleeping, here's a fantastic research tip. You ready? After you practice what you're grateful for, I want you to write down all the things you didn't get done. It's going to sound really counterintuitive. All the things I didn't get to. Oh my God, I didn't do the paint, you know, like that kind of thing. Or, oh my gosh, I forgot to pick up the laundry. I forgot to give the dog the medication. I forgot to finish that presentation. I didn't do that. All those things. If you write them all down, they've researched this. Your brain closes the loop. See, your brain works in open loops. Your brain, again, wants to try to help you remember things. It's like having a bunch of open tabs. A lot of people have trouble sleeping because they don't know this. When in studies, you teach people to write down all the things that you didn't get done, you close the loops in your mind and people fall asleep 8 to 10 minutes faster than the people who lay there thinking about it. And by the way, 8 to 10 minutes faster falling asleep is about the same amount of time in clinical research studies that some sleep aids have. And it's a way to use a little neuroscience hack to close the loops in your brain and tell your brain you can stop thinking about that. And then guess what? The list is there for you in the morning.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much that I have you here. It was amazing to talk to you. And I put a link to your book and your podcast here as well. Thank you so much, Mel Robbins.
Well, thank you. And I'm really proud of you. And make sure you also tell your wife I said hi. I'm a big fan.